Services. I've been fortunate enough to work in this industry for 10 years, and I've been with Queensland Corrective Services since 2011. Like most of you, I left high school and went on to university. I didn't really know what I wanted to study at the time. I just kind of went into the degree that I thought might best suit me. I started out doing a forensic science degree at Deakin University in Geelong, Victoria. But I quickly realised after about two semesters that wasn't the program for me. So I transferred my course credits and graduated with a degree in criminology. Whilst I was at university, I had the opportunity to engage in some volunteer work with Corrective Services in Victoria, and I was able to take up that opportunity and just work 1 day a week. Within a few weeks of my placement, I was already in the payroll, working for Victoria Corrections, running a program in HM Prison Barwon, which is a maximum security prison in Victoria. And I was running the transitional assistance program there. In addition to that, I was also writing reports on behalf of the Adult Parole Board on some of Victoria's highest risk parolees, preparing them for their applications for parole for release. And I was only 20 years old at the time. After graduating, I took up a permanent position with the agency, and I became a case manager in the community. And I moved around Victoria working in different areas with sex offenders, with drug offenders, with youthful offenders. I took up a position in Queensland in 2011 with the High Risk Offender Management Unit, which is the unit that implements the GPS tracking of our high-risk sex offenders in Queensland, and I was part of the rollout program for that and the initiative of the 24-hour monitoring program. From the GPS tracking unit, I moved over to case management in Burleigh Heads, and I've taken up a senior case management role there. And I work with a lot of high-risk offenders. I've got a complex caseload of criminal motorcycle gang members, sex offenders, youthful offenders, female offenders, you name it, we've got them on our caseloads down there. I really enjoy the work that I do with Queensland Corrective Services. It's very varied. One day I could be in court prosecuting a breach matter. The next day I could be visiting somebody in their home, monitoring their compliance, doing drug testing, or even doing operations with Queensland Police, targeting our highest risk offenders. No 2 days in this job are ever the same. You meet a variety of people and you work with a variety of stakeholders as well. I wouldn't do anything else, although if the opportunity presented, who knows. I started out at university thinking I wanted to be a member of CSI. Okay. I've ended up being in a position as a case manager, which I typically thought was a middle-aged man with a moustache. Right? There's not a lot of those people working for probation and parole. A really vivacious young cohort of people trying to help people who are subject to orders from the court and from custodial centres change their ways. We do that through case management, motivational interviewing, and working with our stakeholders. It's a really great industry to be a part of. I'm really glad that I'm working in the industry, and wouldn't have done anything else for the last 10 years if I didn't enjoy it. Thank you.
I think Gemma's covered it all, basically, so I don't know what more is left for me to say. But I'm a previous Griffith student myself. My name's Crystal, and I actually graduated at Griffith about 10 years ago. This is probably my anniversary. This year, and around this month. Don't you graduate soon? Is it the end of this year? Yeah. So as I was preparing for this presentation, I was reflecting on my time at Griffith, and it was quite, I don't know if it's a good or bad thing when I was walking through the grounds today that not much has changed in 10 years. I'm not sure. But basically, over the past 10 years, I've done a range of roles, and that's, like Gemma, what I love about the agency, is there is the variety to start at the bottom and work your way up, and also the opportunity to work with individual offenders, work with in-group programs, go out to custodial centres as well. Our colleagues will talk about that soon. And it's the type of agency that you have to be organised. You've got to be dynamic, you've got to be flexible, because once again, as Gemma said, no day is the same. But that's what I love about the role, because who wants to go into work knowing that it's going to be another tedious day at the office? I don't know. maybe it's the personality that attracts probation and parole staff, but I remember, and perhaps the personality that is attracted to criminology at the start. We've got intelligence officers that work for us, we've got surveillance officers, case managers. I'm currently a supervisor and I work in a regional team. I'm actually working in a project at the moment that's looking at creating a really great program for our students and for our volunteers. That's something that I didn't know when I was at university, that we actually we have a volunteer program with probation and parole, and we love to get students in and we love to get them undertaking work experience while they're still studying their degrees, so that you guys can suss out if you want to work for us, and also that we can find some really star performers early on and not have you approached by any of the other agencies here today. I guess why I initially wanted to do this role was, the belief in people and the belief in change. And I think ultimately the little moments that I remember of my career are those where I've seen change in people. I've run a group program before with a female offender who was prostituting herself and committing crimes to fund her drug habit. Through the group program, she was a star performer. She went on to graduate successfully that program through the treatment that we provided for her, but also through her choice to make a change in her life. And it was months later when she sent us a letter saying thank you, and she sent us photos of her new baby girl, that I thought, hey, what I'm doing matters, and I've made a change in someone's life. So that's what really stands out to me. On the one side, helping people change, but on the other side, it's protecting the community. There's been times that I've had to respond immediately to a risk, to put a parolee into custody that very day and get the police to turn up to the office and pick them up. And we've had to do that because there was a risk to his partner or his children, and that to me has a meaning for the community, making that difference and that change and putting some measures in place to protect that family. And we also work a little bit in terms of supporting that family and linking them with services that they can get help while that person's been incarcerated. So there's a whole breadth of stuff that we do that I never knew that we did when I was at uni. I kind of fell into the career myself, but like Gemma, I wouldn't change it at all, because what we do makes a change and makes a difference, and that's what I set out to do when I was studying, and that's what my goal was. I didn't know what my career wanted to be, but I knew that my goal was to make a difference, and I really feel that probation and parole staff do make a difference. I think something else I wanted to mention as well is the staff that we work with in the agency are also what makes our job awesome. We work with amazing people who are all dedicated, who are all dynamic, and all are there for a purpose and a reason. And sometimes it's the people you work with and what you can do as a team that also creates an amazing workplace and what makes you want to go in to work every day. Something else I wanted to mention as well is the nature of the work we do. It is challenging, it is difficult. You do have to have an understanding of your own ethics, your own morals, and you do have to kind of reflect on yourself a lot. So with that amazing team that we work with and that ability to reflect on yourself and your own practices, you're continually developing and you're continually growing as a person, which I think is an excellent thing to be doing in a job instead of just going there and going through the tedious day-to-day things. So I wanted to finish up today and just say that I'm going to be out there. Feel free to come and have a chat to Gemma, myself and Tamara about probation and parole as a career. Definitely consider the fact that we do have a volunteer program. My current regional manager actually got into the agency through the volunteer program and has worked her way up to be in charge of a district office of 9. I'm from the Brisbane region, so we supervise everywhere from Redlands to Redcliffe and Nala out to Mount Gravatt. And yeah, it's an amazing program that we're creating for our volunteers, and we certainly want to support student placements. So come and have a chat to us if you've got any other questions, and we're also interested to find out what you guys would like to know as about probation and parole as students. Thank you very much for your time, everyone.